Bring it back and forth. It's set. Congratulations! You did great. You got it. Can I hug every one of you?
How are you doing? Love you. Oh, yes. How are you doing? So I use this as how am I doing now? So after I stopped chemo in March, on March 9th, I believe, off the top of my head. From then to now, well, till like a couple of weeks ago, it was very rough. I don't know. I think my body was weaning itself off. I'm not really sure, but I was like vomiting every single day. I had a migraine every single day. Oh my gosh, I would have taken the vomiting over the migraine any day. Which my vomiting did hurt. But anyway, I was sleeping all the time. I still am kind of sleeping all the time. Exhausted. It was just, I thought once I was done with chemo, my body would like snap right back automatically, and I set myself up because that's not true. It got worse. And I even talked to some of the people in my community, some of the people who I look up to as mentors, and I was like, I'm so confused. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, I feel like I'm getting sicker. Like, how is that even happening? And one person had told me, she was like, I feel like with this process, like, you're almost done. This was right before I had finished my last session, before I knew that I was done with chemo. I started vomiting about 2 days before that. And she was like, I just feel like you're so close, and the enemy's trying to just like rock you, like just to rock your faith so that you stop believing or something, like anything. He just wants to mess with you, to kill, steal, and destroy, basically, what he does. And so I was like, when she told me that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be fine. And like this extra boost of faith came out of nowhere, because I'm like, no, enemy, I'm not about to let you sit here. I done came through all this and now you gonna mess it up at the end. No. So I endured the vomiting and the migraines, and even though it wasn't fun, that's just what I had to do, and I had to get through that. And that actually helped me, like, that was kind of an extra boost of intimacy with God too, because it was like, okay, I gotta kick up the faith. I gotta kick up the praying, the worshiping, even through this pain. My worship is a weapon. So even if I had a migraine or I was vomiting, right after I would vomit, I would play worship music, I would sing, I would hum, I would do whatever it took, because I knew that it was nearing the end and I needed to finish out strong. So now I don't know, you could see it on the picture on Instagram, but it's getting better. My nail beds, my theory is that they were dying underneath my nails. I don't really know, but they're starting to get better. I'm losing some weight. My hair is starting to grow back. I'm still out of shape, and I get out of breath easily, which also reminds me of the one little tiny bag that I told you about. Yeah, that little thing, that drug, is no joke. To the point where they said in the beginning of chemo that it could scar my lungs, and actually that's why we ended up stopping chemo when we did. I had one more session to go. I was supposed to do 4 cycles. I only did 3. Because I went from like 100% to like 66%. That's actually 66, 67, somewhere around there. I forget. But that's actually why I stopped at 3 cycles and not 4. My doctor was like, we want you to be able to have oxygen, which I'm very grateful for her in making that decision. But yeah, so part of that is knowing how to like exercise, but still be able to diffuse more oxygen inside of me. I don't know. I probably need to go to a lung specialist. But that's what my recovery looks like as of now. I'm doing great. Still sleeping a lot. The next question is, how did you find community in the midst of your journey? Community is really what got me through. So when I wasn't at UVA, my mom had went with me every session. When I wasn't at UVA, I saw my fiance every day. He also went to UVA when he could, but sometimes he couldn't because of work or school or something. But it was really great to have that constant affirmation of like, you're doing great, you're doing well, we're gonna get through this. And I think if I didn't have that support, with my family going with me to UVA and not being there by myself. And when I'm back, my fiance encouraging me every day and like every hour, every minute. I really don't think that I would be in as good of a headspace as I am now. And I think it would have been a lot harder for me to be positive during the whole situation. So I am like deeply grateful, like even for the times I know I probably drove him crazy, but he didn't complain. But like having him go to the store to get fries or something, or milkshakes or whatever it was, I am truly grateful that I have been blessed with such community and family, and a new family that I'm making in 3 weeks when I get married. So it's really great to know that you have that community, because it's no longer you that's in it by yourself. You have people that's surrounding you. And trying not to cry, but it makes things a lot easier. Yeah, so we're gonna move on because I don't want that tear to come down. What are some things you wish you knew before chemo? There's a lot of things that I don't really know how to articulate. I think the main things is that I wish before that I knew how good God is in general. Like, I feel like now I actually just have more reverence and understanding of who he is. I don't know how to explain that. I just feel like I wish that I had known it earlier. I'm glad that I learned it now, but I feel like with all the other things that I went through, it could have helped me so much. And it did. It just wasn't at this level that it's at now. Like, he doesn't have to do anything else for me, like, at all. And I would still feel the exact same way. So I wish I knew that. Next question. What was God saying or teaching you in the process? What are some helpful and not helpful tips? Not in all caps. I made a Chemo Victory playlist on Spotify before I even went to chemo, because I felt like God was saying that I needed some songs to worship him through. Like, to be able to get through all of this, I need to worship him. And so I, like, that playlist is fire, and I still listen to it. Like, oh my gosh. I also meditate on songs. I have a bigger passion of singing now, which I don't like singing in front of people, but I love singing now. That's just something that just can turn my mood upside down. And I did not know that before. I didn't know that. Have a newfound love of worshiping, but also the things that he was teaching me actually lies in this journal. I feel like before chemo, he was saying that he was going to give me a new vision, just talk to me about different things in all areas of my life, and that I was to write them down. Now, in the moment, sometimes I did not do that because I would be, I had an allergic reaction to one of the drugs, so I was on Benadryl every single day I got chemo, so I'm always asleep. But whenever it came back to my brain, and it would, I would write it down. To either pray about it or just write it down to know that that's something that he wants me to do, or something that I found that I want to do that he gave me the desire for. Some helpful tips, or some things that are not helpful, is having no community. Like, there were some times, I think during the second to third cycle, actually no, it was my third cycle, where I didn't want to talk to anybody, I didn't want to see anybody, I didn't want to be around anybody. Like, I was getting, I think, low-key, just fed up and tired and low-key depressed. And that was not helpful for me. That was my lowest time, and that's when I was negative, because I wasn't telling anybody about anything, like not even Enoch, not even my mom. I just wanted to sleep all day, and that was not helpful. And God even showed me, he was like, look at yourself, like you're sulking, and you wouldn't have to sulk if you just talked to somebody. And then when I would talk to somebody, I would feel a lot better. So I think those were like the main things. It's just what he was showing me specifically about my life, my purpose, my mission. But also like in how not to do life. Like, doing life by yourself is not how we were meant to be. God created more than one person. He created Adam and Eve. And if it would have just been Adam, like, how boring would that have been? he would have been depressed the whole time. So also he was teaching me that rest is huge. Before this, I liked my life, but I don't think I was resting very well. I was kind of just doing. And also my way of coping with things was to do things, to not think about it. And I think that was not healthy for me. And so he has shown me that actually having a time of rest, a Sabbath where I'm actually resting and not planning what I'm going to do all these other days, was really great for me. Also, rest does not mean just watching Netflix all day, because I did that and still battle with that too. It's just watching something or doing something where I zone out and I'm not actually having time with God. So that was great too. All very great things. And he also taught me that having a positive attitude over a negative one changes everything. Like, even though I was still feeling achy and like my bones were gonna fall off, when I approached it with a positive attitude, it was way better. When I laughed, life was sweeter. When I didn't, it was like I felt way worse. So he showed me the importance of like what I put my mind on, which I think has been a current theme throughout this whole thing. Last question, and we are almost done. How did you build your immune system? So I have a story that deals with this. It's a theory, but I think that I think it's true. Long story short, so we know that we are living now in a time of a pandemic of COVID-19, coronavirus. I remember I went to my nurse, and she was they were all my favorites, but this is one of the ones that I had more often, so I saw her a lot more. And I was like, hey, so I feel like I have the flu. And because I had like my body was aching so bad. When I say I literally felt like my bones were going to fall off, that is no understatement. I felt like my bones were going to fall off. And I was like sick, and I was confused. There was so much happening. She tested me for the flu, and I did not have the flu. Also, that was the time that my aunt ended up coming with me to UVA, because my mom had a meeting for this one day or something, and my aunt had she ended up feeling like that a little bit later. I feel like I passed it off to her, but long story short, we found out that somebody at UVA ended up she was like one of the first people to get the coronavirus, and so like in that area, and I feel like I had coronavirus. Like, that was also during the same time span where I felt like I couldn't breathe. And even though, yes, I do believe that was to the blood clot, I think that the no breathing, the aches, the flu-like symptoms, not having the flu, I think all of that was corona. So my theory is that I, by the grace of God, defeated corona during chemotherapy. I don't know how true that is. Don't go running, spreading lies, because we don't know if it's the truth. But I mean, y'all tell me something different. Anyway, as far as my immune system, I think that the steroids help for the chemo to like go through the rest of my body. Steroids help. Oh, the chemo kills everything good and bad. So that kind of helped. Well, not when it came to those flu-like symptoms, but also because chemo kills the good, my numbers were really, really low. And so the solution to that was my doctor gave me Zarzio shots. Basically, I had to administer shooting myself in the belly pretty much every day for a certain amount of time, which was very stressful, and I sweated like immensely. It was crazy. Okay, so I am recording myself taking the Zarzio, which is going to increase my white blood cells. Ooh, I'm sweating. It's light. My bald head. Okay.
You can use the upper outer arms or the
Here
will
we
go
go.
so that the plunger head is completely between the needle guard wings. Keep the plunger pressed fully down while you hold the syringe in place for 5 seconds. Keep the plunger fully pressed down while you carefully pull the needle straight out from the injection site. Slowly release the plunger and allow the needle guard to automatically cover the exposed needle. There may be a small amount of blood at the injection
Well,
site.
it's not doing it.
You can slowly release the plunger and allow the needle guard to automatically cover the exposed needle.
I must have did
There
something
may be a
wrong
small
and
amount of blood at the injection site. You can press a cotton ball or piece of gauze over the injection site and hold it for 10 seconds. Do not rub the injection site.
So that's nice to
You may
know. I
cover the
don't think
injection site with a small adhesive bandage if needed.
pushed it in
Put
as
your
much as
used
I should have.
pre-filled syringes in an FDA-cleared sharp
But
disposal container right away after use. Do not throw away.
at least I had a lot more than
Sargio
0.3.
pre-filled syringes in your
So,
household trash.
alright. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna go call my mom.
But anyway, that helped for my bones, like inside my bones, to make more, I forget the word, chemo brain. So that helped a lot during that process. You need a prescription for that. I only think people on chemo can get that. But also, one of my nurses that I saw all the time, she was like, you need to drink all day, because one of the drugs, I think it's cisplatin, it can basically just cause more harm. And so when I'm flushing that out and when I'm drinking water and all those things, it kind of just helps me, it helps flush out anything that could get stuck in me and cause some sickness. Also, my magnesium was very low, my iron was very low. Pretty much everything got low during chemo, but I think my magnesium and iron was already low before. So I ended up taking those supplements and then taking vitamins every single day along with Emergency. I drank that every day. I have missed some days. I'm actually thinking about how I've missed some days recently, but when I drank that every day, I found that it was a lot less likely for me to get sick. And that's even like something that I want to continue up until now, is taking Emergency every single day. Next question. What was your craving snack? The one you never get sick of eating? Fries! Fries all day, every day. I have had dreams that woke me out of my sleep about fries and potatoes and honestly anything potato related. Like I don't know why it got so bad that I had ate so many potatoes that I think I ended up like getting sick. Not like sick because of an illness, but sick because I ate too much. No, I didn't get sick. Sorry, chemo brain. I gained weight, like it stuck to me. That's what it was. And I was walking around feeling so heavy, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But then the next day, I would crave fries. So I had some individual, like on a certain day, I'd maybe crave something like a milkshake or like a Mexican food. But everything that was consistent, it always went back to potatoes. I don't know why. I still crave fries on a daily basis, but I have a little bit more self-control now. More so related to current times, how can we continue to support and uplift you? That's a great question. I think for me, and I think that's the last question. I think that for me, just having grace, so for the people that I work with that I'm around on a daily basis, just knowing that I'm tired and I need to rest and recover and heal, and giving me grace because I can already be kind of hard on myself in that area. Also, prayers. I just feel like there was a lot to process. Even now, like, I'm talking about these things, but I still have to process more stuff. And we want to keep cancer, not here. And I believe that it's not going to be in my bloodline. So just praying for that. Also praying because I'm about to get married in 3 weeks. And so there's a lot of changes too. Like I'm bald and I'm okay with it, but like that's only one of the changes that my body's going through. My body's still trying to be weaned off of steroids and all these things, and there can be an emotional aspect to that, and also trying to figure that out with other people. It's just trying to figure out that whole process, and that these bills get paid because once I stop chemo, yeah, thank God for insurance. But also, even with insurance, it's kind of like, well, okay. So just like how to steward things like that. And I still have many more tests to go to. So just prayer for all of that, just the whole process. Even though I may not be going through it, there are still some aspects of things that just don't change right now. And I just believe that cancer is not going to be in my bloodline anymore. And so praying that, that keeps happening for it to not be here. Also, just support. There are some days that are really, really great for me, like energy levels, oxygen levels, I'm doing great. And then there are other days where I sleep for 2 days and I'm confused as to why that is happening. And there's nothing I can really explain about it. It's just that's part of the process. So just praying for me to go through the rest of the process. And that is it as far as questions. I think that this was really great. Hopefully it gives you more insight. I know before I went to chemo, I didn't really have a lot of information on what going through chemo looked like. I just saw what I saw on the Tyler Perry movies, and that's not really an accurate representation. There were some people that I saw in the cancer centers that took it a lot harder. There were some people that were a light to be around. There were some friends that I made. Pretty much all my nurses are my friends now, and I wish I could talk to them every single day because they were great. But yeah, it's an interesting process, and I don't think that people talk about it enough. I don't think that it's a topic where people are made aware on it. And so I enjoyed talking about this. I enjoyed you guys asking me questions. I enjoyed giving answers to the questions and my insights and what happened personally to me. Again, just remember that my story is different from other people. Just because this is what it was like for me does not mean that that's how somebody else is going to take it, or that that's going to be the same process that they go through. It all looks different. But if you are a cancer survivor, kudos to you, baby, we beat it. Also, if you are a supporter of someone who is currently going through chemo now, I would just say just be open arms for them and be a listening ear. Don't discredit how they're feeling, because at the end of the day, you don't know what they're feeling. And I know for me, even though I was hurting, I didn't really express how much I was hurting because I felt like it was going to put a damper on the environment. Also, there's no way I can put into the words how my hips feel like they're about to break. So, yeah, just be supportive as much as you can, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, financially, even just holding the door open because I didn't even know how heavy doors were, giving them a ride, anything like that. Anything that seems small is probably big to the person going through it. So again, thank you so much. Follow me on Instagram. I'll probably have more of these little questionnaire things happening. It's subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much. I will see you later, humans. I love ya.